Doing a little rinse.
Right down the drain, huh?
We know nothing.
You know, it looks okay. It really looks okay. You know, it doesn't look that, I mean, that looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, but all the business is inside.
I've lost a portion of land over here.
Let's go see how funky the business is.
Okay, somewhere over here, there is one. Good, good. So
Beating
we're going
pencil?
to do it in here.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. Are you ready? We're going to do it in here so we don't blow shit up.
Nice. That makes a cool video.
It's kind of gunky in there.
Yep. And this one is actually this one was the good one. This is the good one.
The good-ish one.
And where'd the cup go? Oh, the cup's still there. All right, so now we can analyze this.
And the boing boing.
Let's go analyze this. So what you can see here, and this is impotent.
Like, needs a Viagra impotent? Or
This is impotent. This being potent. Sorry, I grew up in the Detroit metro area, so that makes perfect sense to me. This is a wheel cylinder. And the way this cylinder goes in, it goes in here like that.
It's like this.
Yeah, what's that pipe?
Right? Pardon?
What's that pipe? It'll hit your head.
Anyway, so this piston, this is actually the cup that does the sealing, and that goes in here like that. And it's steadied by the piston, and then hydraulic pressure pushes the piston out and then engages or actuates the shoe. Well, brake fluid is, what's the right word I'm looking for?
Hygroscopic.
Hygroscopic, yes. So it's absorbing, it will absorb moisture. So over time, these have absorbed moisture, and you're seeing it right here, because this is all rust. You see that? And that rust is going to be on the inside of this. This just pops right off. At least it should.
Uh-oh.
Come on. There we go. This just pops right off, and you can see it. Backside of this piston looks good. This little guy looks good. Except, and this is where the problem is, the thing that rusts that causes the biggest problem, this piston sits in one place. And if you put your finger in there and run your finger back and forth, you'll feel there's a little bit of a bump there. And that's rust. And that rust builds up and it lifts this seal off the wall of this cylinder, and then it starts to leak. And when we first took delivery on this car, we noticed that the master cylinder was a little bit low. And then we noticed that the brakes pulled to one side. So then it was time at that point to check it out and figure out what's going on with the braking system. Here, you pass this around so you can see how scuzzy it is in there.
So years ago, my dad used to take it off the T-Bird, and he would use it like an emby cloth and clean inside there.
That's
Is that
exactly...
is that to get rid of the rust?
That will get rid of the rust. I actually have a tool. I've got a brake hone that I can shove in there and go psst.
Okay.
You want me to do that again?
Do it again. One more
Okay.
time. There you go.
And it takes and it hones the cylinder,
okay.
the inside of the... Here, take a look.
That's why you were doing that.
Cylinder.
That's it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Feel the bump?
Yeah.
Anyway, what happens when this stuff leaks, it leaks onto the brake shoes, okay?
That's no bueno.
Right, so this brake shoe has multiple issues.
Nice. Must be perfect.
Well, it's okay if it's shiny. That just means it's lightly glazed. What's the problem with this is there is a layer of goo.
I'm not going to stop you.
Nope.
Well,
there
it does the exact opposite. This ends up being really grabby with brake fluid on it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
It binds it.
Right, so when it was started to pull to the right, I knew that I had to inspect this one because this was going to be the problem one. And it is just soaked with hydraulic fluid. Now, there's a cheat. I want to show you the cheat.
Cheat.
There's modern brake fluid,
It involves fire.
Yep. Yep.
They have this- they have this synthetic one.
All right, so here's the cheat.
I know.
Burn it off?
Well, you don't burn it off. What you actually do is you heat it up.
This is 2 weeks in a row Chuck has played with fire, by the way.
And I'm still here to tell the tale.
Fire!
You see that? Look at that.
Oh, no.
We like
Yeah, what's
fire.
happening is it raises the brake fluid to the surface, and then you can wipe it off. And then
Do it again. Do it again. I can't.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's say hypothetically,
Bubbly.
Wow.
let's say hypothetically you have an Izetta, and the brake shoes aren't easily.
Hypothetically.
You have
It's a
two.
hypothetical question. Brake shoes aren't easy to obtain, so if you've got brake shoes that have been soaked, you can do this. You don't put a lot of heat into it. You'll notice I'm holding it and doing it by my hand. If you put too much heat into it, it will separate from the actual
Something
steel.
that riveted up.
No, yeah, these are bonded. This one, I've done it several times now, and there's still a ton of fluid in there. Look at all that, right? These have been leaking a long time. They're past saving. But if you've got some that look like they're okay, and it's not recommended. This would not pass muster, in most shop classes.
Works fine here.
Pardon?
Never get a
these are from
dealership
that
to do that
Pontiac.
for you.
Take that over to the dealer and be like, hey, can you do this?
No,
They'd
they'd
get
have
off the
a,
property,
they'd have a
sir.
shit there.
They're one
You're a
security
plant. You're
guard.
trying to get us put out of business, right?
But you can, in a pinch, you can salvage the linings of shoes by burning it out. But you can see it's still weeping out.
Yeah.
It's still fine because it's hot right now.
Is it hot?
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Put your whole hand on it.
I can pass it around.
Double check for me.
Normally, when you check these things, you're supposed to do it with the back of your hand so you don't burn the tips of your fingers. But,
No.
Yeah, but anyway,
We don't
so
think
that's what we discovered here. Now, if you notice, there's a bit of a groove here.
Yeah.
That's because the previous set of shoes that were on this had rivets, and they ran it down to the rivets and they ground into the drum. And then they didn't turn the drums when they put these in, and these grooves showed up. Now, I'm not going to turn the drums either, and there's a reason for that, and it's specific to 8-lug Pontiac wheels. 8-lug Pontiac wheels, when you remove material, then there isn't enough material there to dissipate heat, and you will cause an overheat and a separation issue between the aluminum and the cast iron of the drum, and then you'll get a pedal that thumps. And those are made of unobtainium, so we're not going to turn them. We're going to put them back in with the little rivet grind in the drum, so we can save the car for another generation. And maybe somebody down the road figures out how to put aluminum and iron drums. Not anytime soon, but anyway. But yeah, I wanted to show you that. So there was just and let's go over to the car. So you can see what was discovered when I took the wheel off. Good evening. Yeah, good evening.
This was one of those discoveries of,
Well, no, we knew that
Oh.
the car was pulling this way, so I suspected a cylinder leak. And if you look closely, you can see there's a drip line right here from the brake fluid leaking out of this cylinder and down. So it was leaking, it would come out and it would leak down here and then get spun all the way around the brake shoes.
the telltale snail trail.
Right. And so we pulled the wheel off and I go, oh, we got to do the brakes. So that's what we're doing. I've got that correct wheel cylinder coming in tomorrow along with the shoes. It'll all go back together and we'll have a car that stops straight. Any questions on that?
It was pulling.
Yes. And that was the first clue. And then I took the drum off and saw the second clue, which was that line Then, and the third clue was that oily, slimy stuff on the shoes themselves. So that brake shoe is contaminated, so it's in the dumpster, and we'll put fresh shoes on this car, and it'll stop the way it was designed to. And these are front drum brakes, by the way, and they're big honking front drum brakes.
The whole thing is an aluminum cup with a cast iron. What's aluminum and what's cast iron here?
Just that ring is
Just the
aluminum.
inner.
Yeah, just this ring right here is cast iron.
Is that unique to
And the
Pontiac?
rest of it, this is unique to Pontiac.
This is the coolest Pontiac thing ever, but
That's for weight, right?
Pardon?
That's for weight?
Well, no, it's for better cooling of the brakes. In
That's
'58,
the whole
Buick
drum? Wow.
came out with aluminum front drums. I'm assuming
That's
it's the
the
same
drums.
purpose,
That whole thing's aluminum.
Yep.
and it's got the fins to help cool too.
Yes. It's fins and heavy aluminum, and lots of aluminum, and fins and fins and fins, and then a cast iron insert. And like if you have a Honda motorcycle, for example, and same thing on a Yamaha. It's got a drum brake, it'll have an aluminum hub, and it'll have a cast iron ring that the shoes ride on.
And aluminum's always just for weight, right? Or less weight, is that why they do it?
And it's also good for heat dissipation.
Because I know you're gonna be going fast and stopping fast with this car.
Well, the amount, I forget the exact numbers, but I believe a stop from 80 miles an hour with a normal sized car, the braking system generates enough heat to melt something like 10 pounds of iron.
Holy cow.
If you kept it contained, right? We're trying to dissipate it, so we have fins and wind and all those other things. But if you get the total number of BTUs is enough that if you applied it to melt the iron, you could. And then we make brakes now for Formula One racers. Those are carbon fiber rotors, and they don't really start working until you get up around 1,000 degrees.
Really?
Yeah, they have to be hot, and then they work.
What do you have on the race car? Those?
iron.
Yeah, those are gonna
I have
be
to run iron. Yeah,
Yeah, he can't run carbon fiber. They wouldn't let him.
we can't run carbon fiber in a lot of places, but you
No,
know we
it's
can
the-
try.
The high-end cars all run, I'm
Yeah.
talking like Formula One, Indy cars.
Yeah, the hillbilly mobile doesn't really have much fancy to it.
Well, what time is it?
Time to start grinding and welding.
Oh, 6:15.
Yeah, well, we should probably start.
I just need, everybody pay me, I need change.